King Kuranes. By Omar Cuellar. The dim glow of electric light flickered in the shadows of Bastian's room. Outside, the night wind of 1985 moaned through the bare branches of Montpelier, Vermont, whispering the obsession that tormented Bastian through the dusty window panes. At 80 years old, Bastian feared his bed as much as he feared death itself. He knew that each time he closed his eyes, he might never open them again. Age had weakened his body, but not his mind, which still churned with the same obsession that had consumed him for 6 decades. It all began when he was 20, in a particularly vivid dream where he glimpsed the mythical city of Cephals. Its marble streets gleamed beneath an impossible moon, and at the heart of its lavish palace, seated before an ebony piano, King Kuranes played a celestial melody. Never in his life had Bastian heard anything so marvelous. When he awoke, the impression of that vision left an indelible mark. Bastian longed to see that man again, playing those frenzied melodies on his piano. From that moment, every night became an unrelenting quest. He tried again and again to find that man, but the realm of dreams was fickle, and Kuranes slipped away like an unreachable specter, occasionally mocking Bastian's efforts with diabolical laughter. In his desperation, Bastian began to sleep more and more, neglecting his earthly life in favor of a chimeric existence in the dream world. He devoted entire years to searching for a king who existed only in his mind. His friends drifted away, his family forgot him, but none of it mattered to Bastian anymore. Only finding King Kuranes made sense. Time passed this way until he reached 80. Now, a dreadful clarity struck him. He had squandered his life, lost the vigor of youth, and consumed his days in a frenzy of failed dreams. The fury he felt was scorching, but resignation weighed heavier. He prepared for one final night of rest, certain that his body could not endure much more. And that was when he found him. This time, the dream did not elude him. Cephals stretched out before his eyes, its splendor intact, as if the decades of his obsession had not been in vain. And there, in his palace of gold and amethyst, Kuranes awaited him, seated at the piano with a mocking smile on his face. But Bastian was no longer the entranced youth of old. He was an old man consumed by resentment. With inhuman determination, he advanced toward the monarch and, wielding a weapon the dream itself provided, struck a fatal blow to Kuranes' neck. Kuranes barely had time to play one final chord before collapsing, and when he did, Bastian felt an immediate change. A surge of energy flooded through him, his body revitalized, and his wrinkles began to fade. He was young again. More than that, he was the king. He rose to the throne, feeling the weight of absolute power on his shoulders. Cephals was his. He ruled with arrogant joy, gazing out over the city he had visited for so long, hoping to hear Kuranes' piano music once more. But his triumph was short-lived. Mere hours later, a brutal pang shot through his chest. His hands trembled, his vision darkened. He felt the stolen vitality draining from his body as quickly as it had come. An excruciating pain tore a scream from him, and in that moment, he understood his fate. Back in his bed in Montpelier, his lifeless body slumped. His heart had given out, overcome by age and the strain of his fleeting victory. And as Bastian perished in the real world, Cephals began to crumble in the realm of dreams. Its towers fell, its streets faded into nothingness, and the grand city, which had endured through countless ages, ceased to exist. The wind outside stilled, as if the world itself had paused in mourning. Bastian's room fell into complete silence, and with his final breath, a dream pursued for 60 years was extinguished forever. The end.